Scanning for audio.
Welcome to a Tin Dog podcast. This time, talking about episode 3 of the current season of Doctor Who on TV, Thin Ice. Now, there are some reactions out there which surprise you. I, for one, was expecting, after this particular broadcast, to visit the forums. Yes, I do have a particular favourite, being the Not the Big Finish forum, Divergent Universe, and then reading what people have said. As a rule, I tend not to listen to other people's podcasts before I record my own. I'd like some of my ideas to be my own. But what I was expecting was quite a lot of people to go, I wonder how that fish got underneath that bridge. Or even, that effect with the shaky breaking ice was a bit dodgy, but I guess we can let it go. It was hilarious. But no, the reaction was interesting. You see, my moral coding, my whole way of seeing the world, admittedly, is influenced by Doctor Who. Yes, you've got your parents in there as well, but you know what I mean. It's kind of come from that. And yes, everyone seems to be making a big thing about, the racism. Yes, there was a monster in Doctor Who and the monster happened to be human. How very Star Trek. But you know what? It surprised me, everyone else's reactions. Doctor Who finally deals with this or that. Yeah, of course. But we've always known that the Doctor would stand up for the subjugated, the little people. And yes, Capaldi's speech about it is brilliant. And let's face it, the bit where he's talking about a society being judged on how it treats its lesser members, that should be the new Labour Party phrase or slogan. But enough about politics. That should be everyone's slogan. That should be everyone's way of thinking. And it surprised me that almost anyone was thinking it was worthy of comment. Yes, a great speech, move on. But no. You see, what I'd forgotten was the way that the Martha thing was just skated over in the Shakespeare Code. Oh, I'm black, says Martha. Oh, it won't matter, says the Doctor. But it does. And it so matters here. Yes, with Regency you're expecting all sorts of lovely frocks. You don't get to experience what's going on behind the scenes. And this author gets to do stuff. It's not a purely historical story, no matter what anyone says. There's a big, massive alien fish thing. Yes. It's like meat. It's being used by the humans around them. That's an episode of Tortured Meat. Look it up. But then again, I always thought that the creature that was in Meat was the same creature that was in Creature from the Pit, which isn't the case. I mean, let's face it, we knew there was going to be a giant fish. And the minute that you see giant snake thing in Doctor Who, there is a tiny part of an old school fan who goes, is it the Mara? Yes, looking at the EastEnders map, you've got a huge snake thing. And perhaps I was thinking Mara feeds on misery. That's why EastEnders is the way it is. And you've got a whole EastEnders Doctor Who crossover, and that always ends well, doesn't it? I am rambling. I know I am. So bear with me. Story-wise, I absolutely loved this, but I suspect you'd be hard-pushed to find anyone who didn't like it. You really would. There are people out there who will always find exception. But let's face it, here you've got Capaldi in a hat. It's not his own hat. He loses his own hat and gets another hat back. It did smack of some sort of continuity error at one point, but that's because I was only paying 99% attention. This has been the strongest story of the whole season so far. And yes, I know everyone's going to go, but what about the vault and the knocking? Is it the master? Who cares? We'll find out. We'll see. We'll get the vault opened. And you know what? Do you get the feeling that Matt Lucas was elsewhere? I'm so glad he came back just in time to have the cup of tea when the kettle was put on, which is the wonderfulness of time travel. But I'm not convinced that Matt Lucas was completely available for all of the stories. He is much more of K9, a chameleon, a character standing at the back commenting. Is he a companion? Well, we'll sort that one out later. Much later. You know, when I'm not here. So, did you enjoy it? Of course you did. Did I enjoy it? Of course I did. Is it nice to see Regency England from another point of view? Yes. Is it nice to have class war? To have different views and different races portrayed in Doctor Who? Of course it is. because the Doctor will always be there to defend us. But perhaps it's his view of life and death and the grand scheme of things and the small victories that brings us always back to Doctor Who. So, how the big fish got past the bridge? Who cares? Was the cracking ice visual effect a problem? I don't care. The rest of the episode was marvellous. The explosive thing that had a galvanic dial on it, lovely. And the fact that absolutely nobody seems to have commented on the fact that no one was operating the pumps on those divers' suits, or that the lead weights that you release from the feet in order to float back up to the surface were still attached to the feet when they climbed out of the surface. Well, we'll put that down to some sort of sonic screwdriver messing with the molecules of lead, or some such nonsense. In fact, let's all use the magic wand that is the sonic screwdriver. Because, let's face it, when push comes to shove, this is the story where a kid actually dies and stays dead. And that is a rare thing indeed. So yes, stand back, witness the wonderment that is the moral centre that is Doctor Who, and you'll be a happy bunny. Or an unhappy bunny until you change the world yourself and make it better because of Doctor Who. I'm rambling. Did you notice? Let's just go and watch the story again, shall we? So until next time, when I'm probably going to be talking more and more and more about Doctor Who, be seeing you. That was the Doctor Who Tin Dog Podcast, available on iTunes, YouTube, Twitter, RSS, Vimeo, and across the internet. Doctor Who and its associated properties are all copyright and trademark of the BBC. No infringement is intended. Why not become a supporter by visiting patreon.com/tindog. Contact the show on tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk. The Tin Dog Podcast is a founder member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance.